Hey West in the World, welcome to your review video for Tuesday, October the 6th, following this morning's lecture on Enlightenment and the Ancien Regime, the last of our lectures before Thursday's first exam. With that exam rapidly approaching, let me offer just a few thoughts to try to help you crystallize your thinking in terms of what to focus on in preparation for the exam. We started this morning by returning to absolutism and to the sort of paramount example of this, the reign of Louis XIV, the Sun King of France. And we talked about the ways in which Louis attempts to center the power of the state in himself, especially, of course, in the palace at Versailles, but also in religious matters and military affairs. We then discussed the nature of the society over which Louis is attempting to reign. And there are three important segments of this society, or so-called estates: the first, second, and third estates, the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners. And we said that these divisions are representative of the way in which Western society at large had been organized really since the medieval period. We then turned from that discussion to the larger issue of the role of the slave trade in serving as a sort of underpinning factor in Western society more generally. Easily lost sight of when we talk about Western society as ruled by kings and organized in these classes and the struggles over privilege amongst them. But the reality of the slave trade and its role in the New World empires that are enriching many of the most powerful rulers in Europe is a reality that we can't afford to ignore. So we talked a little bit about why the slave trade expands so dramatically, why it is that it takes place at all, and what its nature was from the perspective of people who are caught in these systems of enslavement. So make sure that you can explain a little bit about how that all functioned. And then lastly, we sort of wrapped up with a few somewhat scattered thoughts, I'll have to admit, on the Enlightenment and changes that it is bringing, or questions that it is raising. So we looked at the case of someone like Mary Wollstonecraft and the woman's question. Where do women fit into these discussions? We talked about someone like Adam Smith and his transformations in the economic realm. And then a little bit about someone like John Wesley and the ways in which his religious ideas represent a challenge to the perceived lethargy or apathy of the Protestant church of his time. And also in changes in music and in the visual arts, all of which are happening at a fairly accelerated pace in this time period. So good luck with your exam prep. Remember that shortly the questions, the possible short answer questions that you may be asked on the exam will be posted online, and you'll want to pay careful attention to what those are and how they sort of intersect with the various lectures we've had this semester. Good luck. See you on Thursday.